I want to thank you so much for joining us today and welcome you into Your Health and Wealth with Ron Ray of Turning 65 Solutions and Homestead Family Wealth. You can go to the websites, find out more about Ron and his team's Turning 65 Solutions. That is T65solutions.com. Homestead Family Wealth is that very name, homesteadfamilywealth.com. Regardless of which arm you're trying to reach, you can reach out and get in touch with Ron and the team by calling 830-243-6377. If you have questions about things we talk about this week on the show, or just questions as it pertains to your particular circumstances, they'll be happy to set up a time to speak with you. Complimentary time, might I add. 830-243-6377. My name is Chris Swan, and I'm pleased to be joined, as I am every show, with Mr. Ron Ray. Ron, glad to be with you once again. How you doing today, sir?
Good morning, Chris. I'm doing fantastic. It's been a great week. We got a little bit of rain, a little bit cool weather, and everything's looking up. Boy, it's no reason to complain here.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Certainly taking advantage and enjoying the much-needed rain, always much needed here. But we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to spend with the listeners as they get ready to embark on this next great chapter of life known as retirement. Remember, it's not the end of the road. It's the start of the next great leg of the journey, but you need a proper plan in place. And that's what we want to talk about here. Let's go ahead and start by talking about the markets. If you were to look at the stock market since 1928, roughly the past century, before the Great Depression, annualized returns for the S&P 500, they've been 9.8%. That is average returns in layman's terms. But Goldman Sachs is now forecasting that number over the next 10 years is going to go down to 3.1%. Ron, those 10 years are going to be vital for new retirees, people just entering into retirement. What's the danger of having low or possibly even negative returns for retirees in their early years of retirement? And if Goldman Sachs is right, big if, might I add, but is a 3% return enough, or should they be looking at other avenues here?
No, 3% return's not enough. If you're working on the old 4% rule, well, you're a point shy. Before you pay any kind of fees or expense ratios, anything that comes out of your account before you even get to use the money, 3.1% is not enough. That's a pretty gloomy outlook. I'm not sure if they're right or wrong about that. There's probably another forecast that came out from another analyst on the same day that said the opposite. So, right. We never know. And that's the whole point, is you don't know. And so if it's 3.1, that means there's probably more down years than there are up years in that projection. And that's the danger, to answer that question. That's the danger for retirees is if you're going to retire, say in 2025, and this is the year when we're going to have a 20 or 30% correction in the S&P 500, you're in trouble. If you lose that kind of money in the first year of your retirement, you're on the ropes and well, you're probably not going to make it. And so that's what we do, is put together a plan that includes, multiple silos of money. And if we look at it in two, I kind of call them silos. I'm from a farming community, and we've got grain bins. Most people call them silos. You can call them buckets or allocations, whatever you want. We put together two silos, one for non-discretionary spending, stuff you have to pay for, your bills, your housing, your food, your utilities, your insurance, your taxes, your healthcare, things you have to pay for every single month. We want that money to come from sources that are not affected by the markets, right? So if your market money has a bad year this year, your bills are still going to be paid. You don't have to worry about where that money's coming from. All right. So that's the non-discretionary silo. The other one is your discretionary money. That's money you want to spend, but you don't really have to. That's your travel, your kitchen remodels, your grandkids horse shows. We talked about that during the break. I'm going to have to find somebody to finance my daughter's newest hobby. And so we want that to happen. But you know what? If the market does something weird, well, that's something that can be put on hold for a year or two. That's our wants versus our needs, or our paychecks versus our paychecks, right? So that's what those two different silos represent. The non-discretionary silo represents your paycheck, and the discretionary one represents your paychecks. And so that's how we kind of build a plan to where, even if, let's say that they're right, Goldman Sachs is right, we're only going to make 3.1% over the next 10 years in the S&P 500. Well, number one, majority of your money with us not going to be in something risky like the S&P 500. And the part that's non-discretionary, that paycheck, that's going to be in somewhere where you can't lose it at all. And you know that money's coming in every single month.
You're going to have that consistency coming in to take care of those expenditures, those monthly expenditures. Now, your daughter, based on what you were talking to me about earlier, she might think that these horse shows and stuff are necessities, but that's a whole other debate. The 3% return.
You try having that debate with her, Chris.
I am not volunteering for that one by any means. But that 3% return versus a 4% withdrawal strategy, people may hear that and go, "It's just 1%." Well, yes, it is 1%, but that is actually, it's 25% less income coming in, or 25% less in money coming in. So I think that's a bit more staggering, but that's not what we're talking about here. What we want to do is shine a light on the fact that these are average returns they're talking about. There's going to be up years, down years. You want to focus on actual returns, what you have coming in. You want to make sure that regardless of how the market is performing, you've got that non-discretionary income, at the very least, covered by guaranteed sources. And that is what, as you get closer and closer to retirement, it's not about chasing those big returns anymore. It's about the preservation and making sure that you get to enjoy and hopefully not have to worry about unretiring down the line. The team at Homestead Family Wealth, Ron and the team can help you with that, help you make that transition. All you need to do is reach out and set up that time to come in and speak with them. You can go to homesteadfamilywealth.com, find out more about the team right there. Reach out and set up a time right there, or give a call right now as well, 830-243-6377. Don't worry, we're not going to put you on the air right now. That's not the call. It's just to get on their calendar for the week ahead. Again, 830-243-6377. You mentioned the non-discretionary items, and housing was one of them. Comedian Bill Burr will be the first one to tell you he's actually paid off his house. He doesn't have that mortgage payment anymore. He told the Wall Street Journal that he stepped up his mortgage payments years ago because he doesn't believe in sending in just the minimum.
I could have done that dumb thing where you just like, look, all I want to know is what's the payment. And that's, you hear the shackles, and then you're just on this thing that just takes you under. Or you can buy something that you can kick the out of the principal, which is what you want to do, because that your house is gaining value. It's gaining value for the bank because you're paying interest. So it's like, as your house is gaining this amount of value, you're paying this amount of interest. So, and then with all the upkeep and all the taxes and all the crap, water damage, it's like in the end of it, after 30 years of this crap, you're lucky if you break even.
So we all know the value of being as debt-free as possible, entering into retirement, less money going out, more money coming in, obviously. What do you tell clients who perhaps have a mortgage, still have a bit of a mortgage as they're getting ready to retire? Should they pay it off, or does that really depend on, if they happen to refinance when interest rates were really low?
Yeah, I love answering this question, Chris, and I get it all the time. And the reason I like answering is because I usually have an answer that's different than most financial advisors.
Okay.
And my answer is, hey, if it makes you feel better to pay it off, do it. Not everything is a math problem.
Okay.
It's not going to make math sense, to take a 2.5 or 3.5% mortgage and throw money at it and pay it off when you can make, 6, 9, 10, 12% in the market with that same money. The math doesn't make sense. What makes sense is your peace of mind in retirement. Right. And so for me and for my team here, it's more about peace of mind than it is about math. Now, the math's important. There's some math that goes into it, because where's that money going to come from? Right. If you're going to take money out of a 401k, say a large chunk of money, say you've got $100,000 left on your mortgage, and you take $100,000 out of your 401k. Well, that's a little bit different math, because now not only do we are we losing potential interest gained on that 100,000 in the 401k, but we're also paying taxes on it.
Right.
So we have to figure these things in. So it's not just a blanket statement where I say, yes, go ahead and pay it off. I say, yes, if everything else is the same and we're not losing money, or we're not donating money to Uncle Sam to pay off your mortgage, let's do it. I want you to have that peace of mind. If we can check one more mark off of that paycheck list, remember the paychecks and the playchecks, that's money that can go on the playcheck side. Right.
Yeah.
And so peace of mind is what we deal in. Math and money is important, but the bottom line is peace of mind. Your money is going to do what you need it to for the rest of your life and beyond.
I think a lot of people out there, certainly, I haven't seen one in a while, but I know the parish that my dad is a minister at. I know when they paid off their mortgage at that church, they had the old traditional the mortgage burning party. It's a big celebration. It's something to do, and people may want to enter into retirement without that mortgage. That is fantastic. If it makes them feel better to not have that, and it does cost a little bit more as far as a little bit of a tax implication or the loss and potential growth, as you mentioned. As long as, and I know you guys do, Ron, you show them the numbers, you show them what that'll look like. And then at that point, with that data, they can make that decision. If it makes them happy, then who are you to stand in the way? You're not going to tell them what they can and can't do. What you're there for, what you and the team at Homestead Family Wealth are there for, is to show them what it'll look like. And then at the end of the day, let them make that decision, because at the end of the day, it is their retirement. What's more important to a retiree than their own retirement? So yes, if it makes sense to you, maybe not from a number standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint, to pay off that mortgage, certainly we're taking a look at, and Ron and the team will show you, the best way to go about doing that and how to make sure that the additional costs, if there are any, are as minimal as possible. But it's a conversation worth having as part of your overall retirement, your retirement, once again. So if you have questions about that, you want to see what it looks like, reach out, 830-243-6377. Once again, that's 830-243-6377. Or you can go online to the website, and that, of course, is homesteadfamilywealth.com. Going to take a quick break, give you a chance to reach out and make that call, set up a time to speak with Ron and the team, and when we come back, there is more To Your Health and Wealth with Ron Ray. Welcome back to, and thanks so much for joining us here on To Your Health and Wealth with Ron Ray of Turning 65 Solutions and Homestead Family Wealth. Homesteadfamilywealth.com and T65solutions.com are the websites, whether you're trying to reach the financial arm of what Ron and the team do, or the health arm, the Medicare and insurance arm. Those are the websites. The phone number is the same, though, 830-243-6377. I want to remind listeners out there that if they missed the first half of the show or previous segments of the show, it is available via podcast. Just search for To Your Health and Wealth on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you consume your podcast media. It's there for you. And if you listen to last week's show, you'll know that, and I still feel a little greedy about this because I asked for not advice, but just a little bit of insight as to what my my father's doing these days. He is a retired veteran with TRICARE and Medicare and how that factored in. Now, I am aware, Ron, and this one is not about me or my family circumstances, so going to put that out there. But there are those that do retire. There are veterans out there that do retire that don't have TRICARE as an option, and they're relying on, the VA for benefits and things of that nature. What should those retirees, those people, what should they plan for? What do they need to take into account?
Yeah, well, let's just clarify that one term, retire.
Okay.
Maybe separated from the military without retiring. They just did their 4 years and done,
Okay,
and
yes.
or 10 years or 12 years or whatever it was, or maybe 1 year and were injured and qualify for VA, Veterans Administration healthcare benefits. But they don't qualify. They didn't retire with benefits, so they don't get TRICARE, but they get the VA. Not every veteran qualifies for VA benefits. Not every veteran qualifies for the same level of VA benefits. That's important to note, that some veterans may have 100% disability or 100% permanent and total disability. That's different from a veteran that has 10% hearing loss and is on priority level 8. All right, so the benefits are different, and the way it works for every veteran is a little bit different. But let's say you're 60%, you have a 60% disability rating, you're priority level 1, and so you can go to the VA and have all your health care, for the most part, handled by the VA. When you turn 65, you have a choice to make. You can either continue using the VA, or you can get Medicare and use Medicare, or you can do both. Because Medicare and the VA are totally separate programs. One doesn't work with the other. They don't talk to each other. They don't influence each other. And in fact, the VA is not even considered insurance. It's a benefit that veterans receive as a I say reward, but just don't have a better term in my mouth right now, for your service to our country. Yeah. So if we're talking about should you forego Medicare for the VA. There's some things, because it's not considered insurance. You can continue to use the VA if you feel like they're taking good care of you, and you don't have to pick up Medicare Part B. Remember, Medicare Part B, that's the one you pay for. This year it's going to be $185 a month. You don't have to get that, and you can continue using the VA, but you're going to be on the hook for anything that happens outside of the VA that the VA declines to cover. Now, there's depending on what your level is, the VA may cover things that happen outside of the VA hospital, say a civilian hospital, civilian doc, or an accident. They may or may not cover it, but you're going to be on the hook for it if they don't cover it. And at some point in the future, you decide to sign up for Medicare Part B. Well, the VA is not considered insurance. It's not creditable coverage. And so now you're going to have that late enrollment penalty, which adds up. And the later you are, the bigger it gets. It's 10% for every year that you were without Medicare Part B and creditable coverage from an employer from your current employment or your spouse's current employment. So that's a long way to say it's a tough decision to make for some because they feel comfortable with the VA and they don't want to pay for Medicare, and that's fine. As long as you understand, the possible implications down the road, the possible complications down the road. For some, it's a pretty easy decision because they say, I'm not happy with the VA. I don't feel like they've taken very good care of me. There's not a VA facility near me. It takes too long to get an appointment. And yeah, I know that I can rely on the Mission Act. And if there's the distance is too great or the time to get an appointment is too late, they'll let me go to a civilian provider and they'll pay for it. But I've had some problems with that too. And so I'm going to go ahead and get Medicare and use Medicare and have the VA as a backup. That's fine too. We just want you to understand your options and how they play together and or more accurately don't play together. And we can go from there and make your best decision based on a well-educated process. That's veterans with VA benefits, whether you're priority level 1 all the way down to priority level 8. We can help you sort through the process of making a decision whether or not you want to go with Medicare Part B or not, and just kind of maintain the status quo with the VA and not have those outside options. Again, doesn't matter to me, doesn't matter to us, as long as you are well-educated and happy with your decision.
Kind of in the same vein that we talked about prior to the break, when it comes to paying off your mortgage, at the end of the day, what is going to make you feel the most confident? What is going to make you feel the best about your decision? Whether it is, they are agnostic in the approach. They just want to let you know what it's going to look like one way or another. I'm so glad you brought up the point about, the VA not being insurance, because by virtue of doing the show with you, I know that there are those penalties if you go for a prolonged period of time without Medicare and then you elect to turn it on down the road. And it's going to vary from person to person, really depending on the situation. There's no cookie cutter answer, nor should there be in any situation. I'm reminded of this question. And Ron, are you a golfer?
No, Chris, I am not. I prefer my hobbies to be fun.
Okay, completely fair. I also am not a golfer. I'm okay at the driving range, and that is about it. And I don't mind driving the golf cart, but people don't want me.
I do like to drive the cart from time to time.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That is fun. But it would take me the time it'd take more people play 36 holes just to do probably the front 9. But I've heard this question posed before, and it applies to many walks of life. I think, what is the perfect golf shot? And the answer at the end of the day is it's the one that goes in the hole.
Yeah.
What is the perfect retirement plan? What is the right answer when it comes to paying off a mortgage, or where you're going to generate the income from, or what are you going to do as far as VA benefits versus Medicare? The answer is pretty simple. It's the one that makes you feel the most confident.
Yeah.
The one that helps you out the most. And that could vary from person to person. It's going to vary widely because we all start from different locations. We all have different circumstances. You want to have the one that's going to make you feel the best. And that's what Ron and the team are here for. Again, not to tell you what to do, but show you if you do this or that, that this is what it's going to look like. And at the end of the day, help you make the most informed decision. That extends to both arms, the Turning 65 Solutions arm, the Homestead Family Wealth arm, because here's the thing, we've said it so many times, it's not one or the other in retirement. It's not taxes or income or healthcare. It's all of them. They all work together And quite frankly, if you don't take them into account, they could work against you.
Absolutely.
And so you want that plan, ideally a holistic plan, but if there's only one arm of it that you want to use, or one strategy that you want to use, Ron and the team, they will work along with you to help you alongside, the other components. But it all starts with reaching out and setting up a time to speak with them. 830-243-6377 is the phone number. Once again, 830-243-6377. You can always go to the websites as well, t65solutions.com, homesteadfamilywealth.com. And of course, being local is critical, helping out, those in the community, and especially helping those who've served us, the veterans. Obviously, my father, we've spoken about. I'm biased, but I think everyone should be, helping out to those who've served us. And I know this is something that you guys really do take pride in, is reaching out and helping those veterans.
Yeah, Chris, I said it last week. We're fortunate in a sense that this is how we make our living, that we are adjacent to San Antonio, which is known as Military City, USA. So from a business standpoint, it's definitely a target-rich environment. But, being the son of a Navy Vietnam veteran and having served, law enforcement and the Texas Military Forces for many years myself, it holds a special place in my heart. And so many of our clients are veterans and spouses and dependents of veterans. So we've made this kind of specialty. We have a whole division dedicated to it. It's called the Veteran Services and Advocacy Division of Turning 65 Solutions. And in fact, we've helped so many veterans and done such a good job. We've gotten so much feedback from our clients to the companies that we work with that I've just been invited or asked to speak at a conference in Las Vegas next month in March. And speaking, it's 4,000 insurance agents and representatives from insurance companies about what we do with veterans, how we serve veterans in our community and put them in a better position, at least from an educational standpoint, because for so many years, there's been so much, I hate to say misinformation because I don't like that term, but that's what it is in the insurance agent community. Misunderstanding, probably a better term. Okay. Misunderstanding about how Medicare interacts with the VA, how Medicare interacts with TRICARE, CHAMP VA, and so the big term was like, don't touch them. Anytime you'd ask a question about veterans or somebody with TRICARE, don't touch them. You're going to mess them up. Well, that's not true. That's not true. And in almost all cases, we can actually put them in a better position. At least have them have the knowledge and the wisdom to make the best decision for themselves.
That's what it's all about, is that education and empowering those retirees, whether you are a veteran, whether you are, working in the private sector, just making sure that you're as well informed as possible. And it all starts with reaching out. Once again, that number 830-243-6377. That's 830-243-6377. Or you can go to the websites one last time, t65solutions.com, homesteadfamilywealth.com. And I want to remind you, you can check out previous editions of the show by just searching on Apple Podcasts, Google, wherever you consume your podcast media. Just search for To Your Health and Wealth. And it won't be long before this episode is up there, because we have come to the end of another edition of To Your Health and Wealth with Ron Ray. I want to thank you guys for joining us this week, spending the time with us. Hope you have a great week ahead of you, and we look forward to talking with you again next time.